Oh, mercy. Holy moly. I don't know that I love that. I don't love that. I like that. I like it. More megapixels, please? No. So that's nice. Yikes. Yikes. Whew. Yeehaw. How? I'm confused. This sounds wonderful. I love this. It's confusing. Whoa. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Allison, I'm a wedding photographer, and today we are going down the rabbit hole of the Canon R5 and R6. These are newly released, and to be honest, when they released them, I could not have cared less. I was so busy. I didn't even really know what they were, and everybody started talking about them. They're going crazy over them, losing their minds, dying for Canon. And I was like, what is the fuss about? So I'm going to go over the features that I like, the features I don't like, and the features I hate. So let's jump right in. But first, I have to tell you, give you a little backstory on my personality and how tech savvy I am. I'm not tech savvy really at all. I think I'm an Enneagram type 2. And while I am not a fan of change, like a drastic change, I welcome the idea of change. And I'm not really scared of change. Hey, if I'm comfortable, I'm comfortable. Don't fix what isn't broken. Do you know what I mean? But the R5 and R6 are mirrorless cameras. The whole industry is going to mirrorless cameras. I understand that my Mark IV is going to be a dinosaur before I know it. I get it. I don't love it. So while I am happy with my Mark IV, I do have an open mind for mirrorless cameras. Also, I understand that a lot of people are excited about these cameras. So excited. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to yuck your yum. I just want to give you the facts and how I feel about these cameras. Since I am a professional, I do this full time. I've been doing this full time for over 5 years. I've been shooting weddings for 8 years. I don't want to seem like one of those people who are so arrogant and like their nose is like up to here, but I know what I'm doing. And I think if you're going to learn from somebody, you should know that they know what they're doing. You don't want financial advice from somebody who's broke. You don't want marriage advice from somebody who's not married. You want photography advice from somebody who knows what they're doing, you know what I mean? So with that said, let's get into it for real. One more thing, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. There is some premium content upon our horizons. Let's go. So let's talk about the good things that I really do like about the R5 and R6 first. Just to start us off on a high note, I have my research here. The frames per second. So for continuous shooting, the Mark IV that I have right now is an electronically controlled focal plane shutter, whatever that means. 7 frames per second. Not terrible, I guess. So for the R6 and the R5, they both have a mechanical shutter, an electronic front curtain shutter, and an electronic shutter. I don't know what the difference is. I think one has to do with the silent mode. So for the R6, the mechanical shutter will shoot up to 12 frames per second at 20 megapixels, up to 1,000 frames for JPEG, or 240 frames for RAW, which is pretty good. That means you can go like 240 times and like apparently it won't be busy. I'm not sure if I believe that, just because it depends on your card writing also. But anyway, the electronic shutter, which is silent, will go up to 20 frames per second at 20 megapixels for 1,000 frames for JPEG, or 240 frames for RAW. So I guess if you're shooting silently, you can get more frames per second. So you're either at 12 or 20 versus the Mark IV, which is 7. So that is I guess it could be a game changer, especially when you're talking about things in motion like the first kiss. But if you're one of those people who shoots like one shot, which I'm not sure how people do that. A lot of people do. I cannot. I would miss so much stuff. I shoot like an automatic weapon, like just like that. So if you're like me, this does make a difference for you. If you're a one-shot person, this might still make a difference. If you're watching this in the future, be sure to check out my next video on how to stop getting ghosted and get responses from your emails. I'll link it right here. Another thing I like about the R5 and R6 is the ISO. Some people say ISO. I just can't. So anyway, my Mark IV here goes up to 32,000 and the R6 goes up to 102,400 with an expandable ISO range to 204,800. Whoa. And the R5 goes up to 51,000 with an expandable rate up to 102,400, which is a little confusing because the R5 is supposed to be more professional or more beefed up than the R6, which is also confusing because we're used to going 5D, 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III, 5D Mark IV, like up in progression, and this seems to go down in progression. Like the R6 is cheaper and has less features than the R5, but 6 is greater than 5. It's confusing. Raise your hand if you're confused too, like me. So the R6 is at 102,400, and the R5 is at 51,000. There is always another option rather than shooting at 51,000 ISO. But if you look at the 5D Mark III, the ISO is 25,600, and I would never shoot at that either. But when you compare ISO and noise control in the Mark III and the Mark IV, it's like apples and oranges. I love the Mark IV so much. So I can only imagine what the noise control on the R5 and R6 would be like, especially the R6 with 102,400. That is something I would be interested in. That is something that might sway me to one of these two cameras, but let's keep going. Canon rolled out a new in-body stabilization, which is mostly for videographers because they can shoot handheld video easier, more stabilized than before. I rarely see people shooting handheld video, but if they did, this would be for them. It would also mean that you could use non-IS lenses with your camera and still get image stabilization. I can't think of any non-IS lenses I would want to use right now, so that doesn't apply to me at all, but this is a cool feature.
Update. I did not realize that most of Canon's EF lenses that are with the red line even don't have image stabilization. It's blowing my mind, so that's just something to think about. Obviously I've not missed it, but it is a good thing to have. Carry on.
Focal points. Oh, mercy. Okay, my Mark IV has 61 with 41 cross-typed. The R5 has 5,900. Oh, 5,940. And the R6 has 1,053. Let me make sure that is accurate. Hold up. That cannot be. 6,072? How? This is a great time for Canon's website to be currently unavailable. That is wild. 6,072. Where did I get 1,053? Is 1,053 cross-typed focal points? I need to do some research. Let's go to BH Photo Video. Auto point focus, phase detection, 1,053. 1,053. I'm confused. 1,053? How many focal points does the Canon R5 have? Google, you are no help. Maybe Canon Europe will work. Canon America is down. I accept the cookies. Give me all the cookies. Okay. 1,053. We're gonna go with 1,053. And also something different is you have a joystick apparently to select your focal points. Now, I also read this. Canon also added advanced subject detection, including people, eyes, faces, and animals, which uses deep learning to track all your favorite targets accurately. And this sounds wonderful. I love this. My only concern is, what about, say, a first kiss, where two people have their faces smushed together and like there are other faces around them, the preacher, the people next to them going yeehaw. That's what they do in Texas. Will it focus on my couple or will it focus on the people around them? And then will I still say I just want to do like focus recompose because it's just in my blood by now after doing this for so freaking long. Can I just do like dot in the middle and then will it, like, how does this work? Is this back button focusing or can I still back button focus? These are the questions I have. I need to look more into it. If you know, just comment below. Moving on, the touchscreen, they both have touchscreen. The Mark IV also has a touchscreen, which I love that feature. So if you are still using the Mark III, Mark II, whatever, it's a nice upgrade. The R5 and R6 also have a screen that flips out. So the Mark IV is stuck right here. Gosh, this is heavier than I remember. This little thing goes whoosh, and then it tilts and stuff. So I would mainly use that for shots where I'm like, I don't want to lay on the ground and do something. So I could just like have my camera really low and then tilt the screen up. Or if I'm at the reception partying it up, I could be like this and not like have to just take shots in the dark, like literally shots in the dark. You can't see anything. So that would be really helpful actually. I really like that the screen would flip out. I like that. I like it. Okay, GPS. The R5 and R6 do not have GPS. The Mark IV does. I don't ever use the GPS, so it really makes no difference to me. Okay, metering methods. The R5 and R6 have this new center weighted average as a metering method, whereas the Mark IV has evaluative, partial, and spot. The R5 and R6 also have evaluative, partial, and spot. I'm not sure what center weighted average is, but it sounds good. I feel like I would like that. Okay, we're moving into things that turn me off of the R5 and 6. And again, I don't want to yuck your yum. These are just things for me. It does not excite me, or it turns me away, or I absolutely hate it. Well, hate's a strong word, but it's not. Just keep watching. The card slots. The Mark IV, which I currently use, uses the CF card and an SD card. I'm happy with it. CF cards are kind of expensive. So the R6 has 2 SD slots, which I love, but I'm not sure the R6 is the camera I want. And the R5 has 1 SD card slot and a CF Express card slot. So all of my CF cards that I currently have, I just bought like 3 more. They would not work with this camera. So what that would mean is for the R5, which if I'm being honest, if I were to choose one of these cameras, I would go with the R5. I think that means I would need to buy all of these CF Express cards, which are more expensive than CF cards, which are already expensive. I would much rather have 2 SD card slots in this R5 camera, just saying. You also would need to buy a CF Express card reader, which is also expensive. And while we're talking about expensive, let's just get to the price here. Okay, so currently you can buy a Mark IV for $2,500. What a steal. I bought mine for like $4,300 when it came out. The R6 is $2,500 and the R5 is $3,899. Now, that sounds like, okay, that is comparable, but that doesn't include an adapter for your lenses, which by the way, you can use your EF lenses, aka the ones with the red line. You can use those on the R5 and R6 as long as you have an adapter, which is another $100. And then I would need a battery grip if I were to get an R5 or R6 because, well, let's just get into it right now. The R5 and R6 get about 300 shots per battery charge. I can't even like imagine my life having to change out my battery every 300 shots. Currently with my Mark IV, I can go through a whole 12-hour day if I need to on 2 batteries, and maybe a little after that I could probably get a little further with it. How many batteries would that be? That would be like 4 batteries per camera. That's 8 batteries. Ay, 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 mamacita. The good news is that they use the same battery, I think, as the Mark IV, so they're interchangeable. So that's nice. That is one more good thing. But going back to the battery grip holds 2 batteries, so you get 600 shots per battery grip charge. The battery grip is $349 plus tax, of course. And the CF Express cards are for 128 gigs. It's $248. You would need 2 of those, I would think, for one camera. If you have multiple cameras, you need multiple ones. The card reader for the CF Express is anywhere from $55 to $150. Beware though, because they are back ordered for who knows how long. So just for the body itself, the R5, the battery grip, the adapter for my lenses, and the 2 CF cards and the CF card reader, we're looking at over $5,000, which is kind of pricey for 2020, for me anyway. We are building a house, we got a lot of things, other things we need to buy. $5,000 just ain't in my budget right now. And then let's look at the lenses. Right now you can buy the 50 1.2, which I use right here. Like, it never leaves my camera, honestly. It is $12.99. And the RF 51.2, which goes on the R5 or R6, is $21.99. The 85 1.4, it is $14.99, and the RF 85 1.4 is $25.99. So you're looking at about $1,000 more per lens if you get the RF lenses, the new ones, and they are gigantic, which leads me to my next thing: weight. Now, I believe all bodies are beautiful, including camera bodies, but my Mark IV here is 1.76 pounds, okay? People complain about how heavy Canon is to shoot, and especially with the 85. But so the body alone is 1.76 pounds. The R6 is 1.5 pounds. The R5 is 1.62 pounds, which those are less than the Mark IV. But I won't be shooting the R5 just alone. I will be shooting with a battery grip at a wedding. The battery grip is 12.38 ounces, okay? The adapter is 3.88 ounces. So right now, if I were to switch to the R5 and use my old lens, here's what it would weigh: 3.92 pounds with the R5, the adapter, my 50 1.2 lens, and the battery grip. 3.92 pounds. Right now, this right here, my Mark IV with the same lens, is 3.04 pounds. So if I switched, I would be shooting with about a little less than 1 pound difference, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the 85 1.2, this setup right here, which a lot of people complain about being very heavy. Everyone complains about the 85 1.2 being heavy. This here is 4.04 pounds. Let me remind you, if I were to upgrade and shoot with my 50, it would almost be as heavy as shooting with my 85 1.2. Let me just go down. I have a bunch of variations of what would weigh what, just in case one of these doesn't apply to you. Mark IV plus 51.2 is 3.04 pounds. The R5 plus the battery grip plus the RF lens, 51.2, is 4.48 pounds. Holy moly. The R5 with the RF lens without the battery grip is 3.71 pounds. The R5 without the battery grip plus the EF lens and the adapter is 3.14 pounds, and the R5 with the adapter, the EF lens, and battery grip is 3.92 pounds. So let's talk about the 85 now. The EF 85 lens 1.2 is 2.28 pounds. The 1.4 is 2.09 pounds, and the RF 85 1.2 is 2.6 pounds. So it's heavier than the EF 85's 1.2 and 1.4. So this total right here, which is already said to be very heavy, is 4.04 pounds. The total with the 85 1.4 is 3.85 pounds. And then the R5 total with the battery grip, with the RF lens, 85 1.2, is 4.99 pounds. Holy Moses. Almost an entire pound more than this, which people are already complaining about. I cannot imagine this being 1 pound heavier. Yikes. I hope I didn't lose you in all of that. I just want you to know what the weight is for everything, just so you can get an understanding for like what you already feel is heavy or not heavy. If you think this is fine, like you would probably be fine with the R5 and the battery grip and the big old gigantic lens. This for me is heavy. Maybe I need to work out more. It's a good possibility. Moving on to megapixels. My Mark IV has 30 megapixels, which is enough for me. It's probably like overkill a little bit. I've never wanted more megapixels in a camera. It's not something I really asked for, but the R5 has 45 megapixels. Whew. And the R6 has 20 megapixels. I really do not like that 45 megapixels because the storage on that, yikes. 30 megapixels is plenty if you want to print a huge photo. Even before the Mark IV existed, when I was shooting the Mark III, I had a bride, she had a gigantic bridal portrait blown up like life size. Like it was at least 4 feet tall. And that's when I was shooting with the Mark III. So it's just not something I ever have needed. More megapixels, please, no. I can only imagine for video, like how much storage that would be. Another feature in the R5 and R6 is the OLED viewing on LCD screen instead of the pentaprism, which apparently this is called. I didn't know that already, I had to look it up. But when you look through here, right now you see like a mirrored something or another, a pentaprism. I mean, doesn't everyone know what a pentaprism is? The R5 and R6, it's like looking into an LCD screen, like, so I'm guessing it would be like looking at this, but in here. And I'm not sure how I would like that, honestly. And I'm also wondering about eye strain. Is it going to be too bright? Like my husband's Android, he has a Note 10, and when I look at it, it's like looking at the sun. I'm a little worried that this would give me a migraine looking at a screen through here all day instead of just true life, whatever. Although, I will say that it would be a perk to be able to see my settings through here, like what I'm set at, if it's too dark or too bright or whatever. That would be a perk. But honestly, right now, you can see your metering mark if it's above or below, and I tend to look right through that and not see it at all, so I don't know. Speaking of settings, on the R6 you no longer have this right here to see your settings on top of your camera. It's all here, I'm assuming. I don't know that I love that. I don't love that. However, the R5, which is the one I would probably get if I did switch everything over, it does have the little screen on the top where you can see your settings, your shutter speed, your ISO, and everything like that, and your metering. I think I usually use this top screen for metering the most, and to see, that's where I look at my settings. I never look at my settings back here ever. Maybe I might do my Kelvin. That's it. Okay, moving on. We talked about the lenses being gigantic monsters. And okay, let's talk about lenses again for a second, because I'm trying to figure out if I didn't have the lenses I have right now, and say I was shooting with a 60 or a Mark II, which I freaking hate, by the way. Don't ever just... I actually think that I would buy these lenses here because they're cheaper now, thanks to the R series coming out. I would get all of these lenses, the EF lenses, and then get the adapter. I'll come back to this. Another thing that is not a huge deal, it's just a little annoying, is that Lightroom isn't compatible with the R5 or R6 yet as is. You have to Google something and then download something and then install that something into Lightroom for it to read your images. Not a huge deal breaker. It's just, I wish that Canon and Lightroom or Adobe would just have a little powwow before they just release all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's not too much to ask. So my final thoughts on the R5 and R6. At first, I was into the R6 because it has 20 megapixels, which is still good. And I don't want 45 megapixels worth of stuff. Again, didn't ask for more megapixels. The R6 also weighs a little less than the R5, but the lenses are so dang big and heavy and just not practical. Honestly, I am very happy where I am shooting the Mark IV with my EF lenses. I don't have any problems. I calibrated my lenses manually myself, and that has worked well for me. I have not had any hiccups with these cameras. Now, if I was shooting the Mark III right now, the Mark III and the Mark IV are like comparing apples and oranges. The Mark III, I think, has made a lot of photographers jump ship actually to Sony, and I can understand that because the Mark III really sucks when it comes to focusing in the dark, like dark dancing. Nobody dances in the light. Every reception you're at is going to be in the dark. The Mark III cannot focus worth nothing. So I totally understand why Canons have converted to Sony. But with the Mark IV, I am very happy. The skin tones are dreamy and creamy, and it handles the light so well. And I can get sharp images. The Mark IV is just honestly a masterpiece. And again, I'm a Canon girl, mostly because of the skin tones I can get with Canon. A lot of people think I shoot film, which I don't. I am very happy where I am, and this is not sponsored by Canon, obviously. I wouldn't be talking trash about R5 and R6 if it was. But if I didn't have my Mark IV, I would definitely consider choosing the R5 or R6 if I had $5,000 that I wanted to invest in that. But right now, I'm happy where I am. I'm content. I'm not in a place where I need to have gear to keep me motivated or something like that. Some people get stuck in a rut and they're like looking for any little thing that they can do to get back into the swing of things and like excited about taking pictures. I don't need that right now. But honestly, if I was shooting a Mark II or a Mark III or a 6D or something like that that I wanted to upgrade to, I would upgrade to the Mark IV right now and get all the EF lenses because everything is cheaper. It's just going to get cheaper. And then I will wait for the next drop of the mirrorless lens. I think that's what I'm gonna do right now. Is I'm happy where I'm at, but I'm waiting for the next drop for them to get all the little kinks out. I think this is their first like professional mirrorless lens. They have the R, but it's not like beefed up enough for me. So that's my game plan. I might test out the R5 just for kicks and giggles, but it would have to be like exponentially amazing for me to switch. If you've switched from the Mark IV to the R5, please comment below and let me know how it goes. I hope this helped. If you're a photographer, come back next week. There will be new content for you. There are also some free goodies below, like my whole entire flash gear list. Flash is my thing. It's what I'm known for. It also goes into which equipment I use throughout the wedding day, like what I use for getting ready, what I use for night portraits, what I use for ceremony, what I use for reception, all that good stuff. So be sure to check it out. And while you're there, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and come back next week. I'll see you guys later. Oh, did I get it? There's a gnat in here. What was I saying? There are buzzards circling my house. Don't broke what isn't fixed. Don't broke. Oh my gosh. And today I am pretending that it is fall. I actually started on the Rebel XS. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I sold it. I probably got $50 for it because it is an absolute piece of garbage, but it served its purpose. So I went from the Rebel XS to the Rebel T1i, which was not a really big jump. My iPhone can take much better photos than the T1i. I shot my first wedding on the T1i. And then I went to the 6D, and then the 5D Mark III, and then the 5D Mark IV. Beefed up. It's probably R6. Is it 5R? Doggone it. R5. R5. We're talking about the R5 and R6 today, not the 5R. Whatever that is. I need to turn off my notifications, obviously. Continuous shooting. I look like alfalfa. Hold up. Yeah. No, I don't want to upgrade my iCloud storage. Golly, there's a gnat in here. Excuse me. So I'm guessing, did I mess up my eyebrow? Or whatever this is, the L, what is this thing? Hey.
Hey, sweet pie, how's it going there?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing alright. What are you up to?
I'm filming my YouTube videos. Hello, friends. What year is this? Doggone. There's too many cameras involved here.